Hi, I'm Jillian and welcome to the show. I offer spiritual growth for the rebel soul, guiding you through the labyrinth of your own ascension path. This show is for the rebel souls that challenge the status quo, those that crave authenticity in every single aspect of their lives, that desire to embrace their uniqueness, follow their passions, connect to their soul and live according to who they truly are, even if that means having the courage to go against the grain or the norms of society. If that's you, my spiritual soul seeker, rebel warrior, then this is the place for you. On this podcast, we speak about everything from spirituality, sexuality, conscious relationships, business, and literally everything in between. So if that's your jam, then stay tuned. And go on, be a rebel and subscribe. You know you want to. Welcome back. In this episode, we are going to be talking about something that fascinates so many people, but yet is often pretty misunderstood. And that topic is mediumship. So, what the hell is mediumship? Essentially, mediumship is the ability to connect with spirits of those who have passed on. So those could be our passed on loved ones or people that we've never even met. The people that have been here in the human form and have passed over to the other side. So if you have mediumship abilities, then essentially you can act as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms. And it can honestly be such a profound gift filled with lots of lessons, with healing, and sometimes pretty unexpected encounters of a few that I'm going to mention throughout this episode. So in this episode, I'm going to explain not only how mediumship works, but also share some deeply personal stories of how it's actually manifested in my life and how my mediumship abilities have come online and transpired throughout the years. So let's start with the basics. Mediumship isn't just about conjuring spirits on command. In fact, it's really never about that, like is so often depicted in the movies and in theater. It's actually a natural psychic ability that some people develop, and pretty much everyone has the capabilities of mediumship, and some people just naturally have certain experiences or abilities, but then other people with intention and with practice can develop this as a skill. It's like anything. It's like you could have a natural ability or a skill for something, or you can learn it. And it's no different with any of our psychic or mediumship gifts or spiritual abilities. It's like we can have a natural propensity to it, or we can just invest our time and our intention and our will on developing a skill, just as you would a sport or art or anything else that you're passionate or interested in. So if you have this gift, mediums typically receive messages from the people that have passed on in a couple of different ways. So again, this is through our psychic senses, through our clairs, through visions, through feelings, through words, or even like physical sensations. You know, some people actually see spirits in their mind's eye, while others hear or feel their presence. In some cases, mediums or people that have this gift can see spirits and apparitions in the physical, like with their physical eyes. But like from my experience, that tends to be a little bit more rare. Although I do have a story that I'm going to share with you where that did happen to me. But in general, it's usually in our inner ear or our mind's eye. For me, it's usually in my mind's eye where I can see the spirit clearly. Like I can see what they look like, if they're male or female, like kind of almost like a vivid memory that's playing out. But I also then hear them speak, so they can channel through me, or I can get a sense of their personality, or even sometimes something else happens and I can not only feel their emotions, but I can feel like physical pain or sensations, which is often them giving me a message that is to validate who they are for the person that they're coming through for. So I want to tell you a story of when I was actually developing my psychic abilities, like way back in 2013, when I was at psychic school. And we were doing a mediumship reading this one time, and I think I've shared this story before, but I was used to just doing psychic readings, so I was picking up things psychically, but this was really the first time that I'd ever done a mediumship reading. So the person that I was reading for, the spirit that came, the passed on loved one of theirs, was actually, I think, her uncle, if I remember correctly. And the way that he was showing himself to me and the message that he was trying to portray was by passing on energetically actual physical sensation that he had experienced, so it could validate that this was the person that I was actually connecting to. And something that happened to him, his foot actually somehow was on fire at some point in his life, and I was like, all of a sudden just had this physical sensation, and I just knew it was like I was like, my foot feels like it's on fire, like, is this relevant? And it was validated. She was like, yeah, that was my uncle. He set himself on fire, da, da, da. And that was a crazy way for me that they were basically giving me messages using my physical body and using physical sensations to validate who they were for the person that I was reading for. So again, there's all different ways. Like, everyone has completely different ways that they communicate with spirit and different ways that spirit will communicate with them. And this is why it's so important to open up all of your different clairs, open up all of your different psychic senses, so that you can interpret and read messages from spirit or from your guides or from whoever it is that you want to connect to, the universe, in so many different ways. And I also want to tell you a story of another really profound experience that I had with my mediumship. And this is probably like one of the most profound, like one of the first profound stories, I suppose, that I had with mediumship, which was when my best friend, who was 19, and I was also 19, passed away. Now, pretty much shortly after she passed, I began to see her in my dreams. You know, these weren't ordinary dreams. They were so vivid, and she honestly felt so real. It was like she was visiting me. It was like she was there with me. It's like she was comforting me and like just letting me know that she was okay. And, you know, one night though, of course I was having these dreams, but on a few other nights after this, I actually experienced something that was a little bit different. I was getting ready for bed, and I used to have this floor-to-ceiling mirror across from my bed, like quite a bit away, but in the room that I was in at the time. And lo and behold, what did I see as I gazed into this mirror at night? I saw her reflection. Like, talk about scary. She was standing there, clear as day, like smiling at me. And whilst it was scary, it was also like kind of peaceful at the same time. And the only way I can describe it is, it's just like I had this knowing, you know, like whenever I was seeing these things, although it was shocking because, you know, I'd never really seen anything like this before. I'd had feelings and I'd had knowings throughout my life and throughout childhood, but nothing that was so like profoundly visual than what I was experiencing in these dreams and obviously in the mirror, which was like, that was in my physical space, you know. It was like, it took me aback a little bit, but it also had this level of peace to it because, again, this is how spirit can communicate. Yes, they are showing themselves in different ways to us, but they're also able to relay the energy of the message that they're trying to give. And this is why, you know, if you do see spirit, or if you do see a shadow, or you do see a passed on loved one, like in the physical somewhere, then like, please don't be scared. You know, just really tune into maybe the sensation or maybe the feeling that comes with seeing them, because usually it's one of love, usually it's one of peace, usually it's one to let you know that they're there and they're loving you and supporting you from the other side. And I mean, if that wasn't enough,